Finally, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria has considered. He has directed all the banks in Nigeria to give out both the new notes and all the notes. For the long time of my subscribers, I've been talking about the cash crunch that is pressing, that is weighing, that is punishing Nigerians for the past 2 months now. Finally, the CBN governor, the callous, the wicked, the heartless CBN governor has considered. So I'm going to tell you some of the few things that made him to do that. For those of you might be wondering, why am I saying all this? Wow, is it related to you guys? Remember, part of my channel is to tell you what is going on in Africa, precisely what is going on in Nigeria, to tell you how things are going. For those of you that are interested in knowing about us, because we have some of you that just wish to know more about places beside your immediate environment. Okay, that's what I'll be talking about. But before I continue this video, I'd like to show my full appreciation to my patrons. Thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate you guys. Your support is immensely appreciated by me. Thank you so much. And those of you that have been buying me cups of coffee, thank you, everybody. I love you all. Thank you. Most especially Mr. Mike, Atomic Shrimp. I love you, man. A very modest and indescribable man. Thank you, Mr. Mike, for being there for me. All right, let's go into the video now. I've been hearing some of the policies of wicked leaders. I've been hearing it here and there, both those happening in Africa and those happening in other countries. But I've never personally experienced the wickedness that is being displayed by the governor of Nigerian Central Bank. The directive, the policy of redesigning the Naira was meant to curb vote buying by the politicians. Unexpectedly, you just discover that it's not happening, and the major reason why it is not working is simply because it failed to consult all the necessary people and associations that were supposed to consult before finalizing on the decision of redesigning. As a result, it's failed. So once that failed, the next thing is that the burden is now placed on Nigerians, on common people like us. Common people like so, we are feeling the pain. I can't remember the last time that I hold 5,000 naira in my hands. 5,000 naira. I can't remember the last time that I hold it. Just for you to understand how bad it is. To understand how bad it is. In Nigeria now, in this video I'll be using naira. So you can just equivalent the naira to dollar now. Before all this problem, before all this crisis, in Nigeria, we have people that will call POS agents. POS agents, we have them like that. What they do is that, let's say you have an ATM card. Instead of going to banks to get some money, to withdraw some money, or to going to ATM, because many of the times ATM will not dispense any cash in Nigeria, and also in the banks there will be very long queue, and many people don't want to do that. So you take your ATM card to this agent. So you give them your ATM card, they put it in a POS. They put it in a POS and they deduct any amount that you want. Deduct it just like you are buying from them. So when they deduct it, they will now give you the equivalent cash. They give you the equivalent cash. But in this scenario now, for every 5,000 naira you collect, they'll bill you 100 naira. Yes, for every 5,000 naira you collect, they bill you 100 naira. But since you won't believe it, since this crisis has started, that the cash crunch is pressing on Nigerians, it reached a level where I heard, should I say I heard or I saw, a man who said he collected 5,000 naira and he paid 1,500 naira. 1,500 naira to collect 5,000 naira. Just to tell you how, how scarce the note was, how scarce the money was. And all the news, this governor is aware of it, but he is insisting that Nigerians should continue to be bearing the pain. Nigeria is the largest country in Africa, the most populated country in Africa. That means we have over 200 million population. And this man, this single man, along with our president, they are suffering, all of us, simply because of the policy is good, to be candid, but the implementation of the policy was devilish. It wasn't made in the interest of Nigerians. I believe it was made for them to achieve their own personal goal. That was the problem with the redesigning of the Nigerian naira. In case you are wondering, when the cash was scarce, how do we buy things? How do we pay for goods and services? All right. According to him, what he advises that Nigerians should be using online transaction. If you're using online platform, you know, like our bank's app, to do that, to transact, to send money, and to receive money. But the problem with that is that the network, because of that, the network was so congested that there's no guarantee that if you make 5 transactions, that one will not get stuck. You not receive the money, you'll not be able to send the money. One will not stuck, there will not be any one problem or the other with your money. And when your money is stuck, the only option you have is to go to the bank. And when you get to bank, you will see a unreasonably long queue. There was a time that I got to our bank area around 9 a.m. and I left the bank 3 p.m. I queued for 6 hours. 6 good hours. And in case you are wondering, where do you guys queue? We queue outside the bank when there's no cover on the sun. Right there in the sun. That's where we queued. Can you imagine that? That is the pain that many millions of Nigerians are facing all over the country. All over the country. But luckily for us in Nigeria, aside from the standard bank, we are what to call our fintech banks. Example of fintech banks is we have OP, we have PAMPay. Those banks, they are different from traditional banks. They solely based on online transaction. It was that kind of bank that came as a savior for Nigerians, because their own transactions were fast and efficient. So Nigerians had to move to all these fintech banks. That was the one we're now using for everyday transaction. But because the large number of people have moved into the fintech companies, and the kind of the kind of influx that they don't expect, their own service and network also becoming slow and sluggish. It's becoming slow and sluggish. So we're feeling the pain. When you get to Nigerian banks, if you get to Nigerian banks now, if you are a person who is heartful, if you are a person who cares about other people, it may not help it than to be crying for what you see Nigerians going through. The pushing, all this. There are some cases we've heard that there are some cases that a woman was in the hospital, and the man wanted to transfer the money needed for the operation to the hospital. Unfortunately, the money got stuck. And now, what's the next option? The man was trying to look for cash, but there was no available cash. According to the news that I heard, the woman later died. I'm very sure this is not the only case that happened throughout the 2 excruciating, painful months that we went through in Nigeria. Luckily, I believe that one should be behind us now, and I hope this does not get repeated. But the point I'm trying to say in this video is that our people are wicked, they are callous, they are heartless. Because I can't imagine your policy is putting millions of people, over millions of people, in problems. You are sleeping in your house, you are sleeping at home with your loved ones, while sometimes before we eat at home, I'm talking about my own case now, I'll have to go outside there to look for. Sometimes I beg people for money. Sometimes if I need money and I will beg them. Of course, when somebody with cash, you beg them to give you the cash so that you can transfer the money to them. Because I'm living in a rural area, for example, a rural area where 90% of people living here are illiterate. That means that they don't have no knowledge. They have no knowledge about what comes to online banking. And again, another very, very crucial point too. You want to introduce cashless economy in a country where more than 70% are illiterate, More than 70% of Nigerians are illiterate. That is one. Part of the 30% that are literate, we have some of them too, they are not computer literate. That tells you the very low ratio of those that can deal, of Nigerians that have the knowledge of the online transaction, to those who have no knowledge of the online transaction, and you want to take the country to full cashless. I said it, this, our leaders, sometimes I don't know how they think. I said, even in advanced country like United States, like UK, they haven't gone fully cashless, despite the fact that they have very high rate of educated and well-read people there. Not to talk of a country in Nigeria where we still have schools. We still have schools where the students are learning under the tree in a school. Yes, some of the schools in the northern part of Nigeria, you will see students under the tree learning. You know, it's just a very funny thing. Okay, that's what I'm just expressing my mind, what I want to say about this video. If you have any question about this, please let me know in the comment section below. In case you're interested in reading it yourself, I'll put the link to different articles about this saga in the description of the video. You can also support me, just like I said. You can buy me cups of coffee. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.